Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses as we continue with Part 12, the Aura and Auric Colors, from the Secret Doctrine of the Rosicrucians by Magus Incognito, William Walker Atkinson. The Aura and Auric Colors. One of the most interesting points of the Rosicrucian teachings to the average student is that which is concerned with the aura or psychic atmosphere of the human individual, and the astral colors which manifest in that aura and otherwise. By aura is meant a subtle invisible emanation or exhalation creating an atmosphere around the person or thing emanating it. At least this is the popular definition of the term. In occult writings and teachings, however, the term has a more special meaning and is employed to indicate the psychic atmosphere surrounding each human individual, invisible to the ordinary sense of sight, but perceptible by clairvoyant vision. The human aura is an emanation from the soul or souls of the person whom it surrounds. It is akin to the rays of the sun or the fragrance of the flower. It is a form of energy rather than of matter, yet it possesses a certain substantiality which justifies some writers in treating it as being composed of a very subtle form of matter. The human aura is egg-shaped and extends to an average distance of 2 or 3 feet from the body of the person emanating it. The human aura is composed of numerous elements, some of a low and some of a high order, corresponding to the elements manifesting in the soul of the person. Just as the manifestations of the souls of different persons vary greatly one from the other, so do their auras vary in the same degree. An advanced occultist with trained clairvoyant vision is able to read the mental and emotional character of a person like an open book by means of the appearance and coloring of his or her aura. The lowest element in the human aura is that which occultists call the physical emanation, which is almost colorless, and which is marked by minute and thin streaks or bristle-like marks, standing out from the body like bristles on a brush. When the person is in good health, these bristles stand out stiffly, while when the person is in poor health or is suffering from impaired vitality, they droop like the soft hair on the coat of an animal. This element of the aura appears to detach minute particles of itself from the aura as the person moves about, and it is believed that it is by these particles that dogs and other animals are able to track persons. It is this which is the essence of the so-called scent, followed by the animals mentioned. Another low element in the human aura is that which may be called the auric element of vital energy. This element is perceived by clairvoyants as having a very faint pinkish glow, sometimes filled with tiny sparks of vital magnetism if the person be very magnetic. It is occasionally visible to persons lacking clairvoyant vision and appears to them in the form of vibrating air, similar to the heated air arising from a field on a very warm day or from a heated stove. Passing over several unimportant auric elements of a lower degree, the student is asked to consider the most interesting phenomena of the auric colors, which represent the mental and emotional elements in the soul of the man or woman. These elements are the characteristic features of the aura when perceived by clairvoyant vision. The aura, seen in this way, presents the appearance of a luminous cloud composed of varied and shifting colors, extending in egg shape to a distance of about 2 or 3 feet from the body, and gradually growing fainter toward its outward limits until it finally disappears. Each one of the colors in the aura represents some particular thought, mental state, emotion, or feeling in the soul of the person. It will be seen at once that there is an almost infinite variation and shading of these auric colors, owing to the complexity in the emotional states of the average person. The following table of the auric colors will give you the key to the blending and shading in the luminous cloud composing the human aura. Table of the auric colors. Black indicates hatred, malice, revenge, and similar low feelings. Gray, bright shade, indicates selfishness. Ghastly shade indicates fear and terror. Dark shade indicates melancholy. Green, bright live shade, indicates diplomacy, worldly wisdom, suavity, tact, politeness, and polite deceit in general. Dirty muddy shade indicates low deceit, low cunning, falsehood, trickery of a low order. Dark dull shade indicates jealousy, envy, covetousness. Red is the color of the passions in general, but there is a great variety in its manifestations. For instance, red, dull and appearing as if mixed with smoke, indicates sensuality and the lower animal passions. Red, appearing as bright flashes, sometimes like lightning in form, indicates anger. In this case, the red usually is shown on a black background when the anger arises from hatred or malice, and on a greenish background when the anger arises from jealousy, envy, etc. And without any background when the anger arises from righteous indignation and the defense of what is believed to be a righteous cause. Red, crimson shade, represents love and varies in shade according to the character of the passion named. For instance, a dull and heavy crimson shade indicates a gross sensual love, while the brighter, clearer, and more pleasing shades indicate love blended with higher feelings and accompanied by higher ideals. And the highest form of human love between the sexes manifests in a beautiful rose color. Brown, reddish shade, indicates avarice and greed. Orange, bright shade, represents pride and ambition. Yellow, in its various shades, represents intellectual power in its various forms. A beautiful, clear, golden yellow indicates high intellectual attainment, logical reasoning, unprejudiced judgment, and discrimination. A dark, dull yellow shade indicates intellectual power, contenting itself with thoughts and subjects of a low, selfish order. The shades between the two just indicated denote the presence of higher or lower thought, respectively, the dark representing the lower and the light the higher. Blue, dark shade, represents religious emotion, feeling, and tendencies in general. The dull shades, however, indicate religious emotion of a low order, while the clearer, brighter shades indicate religious emotions of a high order. These shades vary and range from a dull indigo to a beautiful bright violet. Light blue, of a peculiar hue and shade, indicates spirituality. This spiritual blue is of a peculiarly clear, transparent, and luminous appearance, which is difficult to describe in words. In the auras of some persons of a very high degree of spirituality, there appear tiny, luminous, spark-like points, often twinkling and sparkling like the stars in the heavens on a clear night. In addition to the ordinary colors named above, there are several shades which cannot be named, for they correspond to colors outside of the field of human vision, such as infrared and ultraviolet. Without going deeply into this phase of the subject, it may be said that the ultraviolet auric colors denote high spiritual powers manifested in the direction of the highest and most worthy aims and ends, while the infrared auric colors denote psychic powers employed in unworthy ways and for base ends, as for instance, that which the occultists know as black magic. There are two other auric colors which are impossible to describe in words, for there are no terms adequate for such expression. These colors are as follows. 1. The true primary yellow, which indicates the highest spiritual illumination of the intellect. And 2. True pure white of a peculiar brilliancy and transparency, which indicates the presence of the awakened spirit. A writer on the subject has said of the manifestations of the auric colors, "Even when the mind is calm, there hover in the aura the shades indicative of the predominant tendencies in the man, so that his stage of advancement and development, as well as his tastes and other features of his personality, may be readily discerned. When the mind is swept by a strong passion, feeling, or emotion, the entire aura seems to be colored by the particular shade or shades representing it. For instance, a violent fit of anger causes the whole aura to show bright red flashes upon a black background, almost eclipsing the other colors. This state lasts for a longer or shorter time according to the strength of the passion. If people could but have a glimpse of the human aura when so colored, they would become so horrified at the dreadful sight that they would never again permit themselves to fly into a rage. It resembles the flame and smoke of the pit, which is referred to in the Orthodox churches, and in fact the human mind in such a condition becomes a veritable hell for the time being. A strong wave of love sweeping over the mind will cause the aura to show crimson, the shade depending upon the character of the passion. Likewise, a burst of religious feeling will bestow upon the entire aura a blue tinge. In short, a strong emotion, feeling, or passion causes the entire aura to take on its color while the feeling lasts. You will see from what we have said that there are two aspects to the color feature of the aura, the first depending upon the predominant thoughts habitually manifesting in the mind of the person. The second depending upon the particular feeling, emotion, or passion, if any, being manifested at that particular time. The passing color disappears when the feeling dies away. although a feeling, passion or emotion repeatedly manifested shows itself in time upon the auric color. The habitual color shown in the aura, of course, changes gradually from time to time as the character of the person improves or changes. The habitual colors shown indicate the general character of the person. The passing colors show what feeling, emotion or passion, if any, is dominating him at that particular time. Another writer describing the appearance of the aura of a person has said, "The shades and colors of the aura present an ever-changing kaleidoscopic spectacle. The trained occultist is able to read the character of any person as well as the nature of his passing thoughts and feelings by simply studying the shifting colors of his aura." To the developed occultist, the mind and character becomes as an open book to be studied carefully and intelligently. Even the student of occultism, who has not been able to develop the clairvoyant vision to such a high degree, is soon able to develop the sense of psychic perception, whereby he is able to at least feel the vibrations of the aura, though he may not see the colors, and thus be able to interpret the mental states which have caused them. The principle, of course, is the same, as the colors are but the outward appearance of the vibrations themselves, just as the ordinary colors on the physical plane are merely the outward manifestations of vibrations of matter. But it must not be supposed that the human aura is always perceived in the appearance of a luminous cloud of ever-changing color. When we say that such is its characteristic appearance, we mean it in the same sense that we describe the ocean as a calm, deep body of greenish waters. We know, however, that at times the ocean presents no such appearance, but instead is seen as rising in great mountainous waves, white-capped and threatening the tiny vessels of men with its power. Or again, we may define the word flame in the sense of a steady, bright stream of burning gas, whereas we know only too well that the word also indicates the great hot tongues of fiery force that stream out from the windows of a burning building and lick to destruction all with which it comes in contact. So it is with the human aura. At times it may be seen as a beautiful, calm, luminous atmosphere, presenting the appearance of a great opal under the rays of the sun. Again, it blazes like the flames of a great furnace, shooting forth great tongues of fire in this direction and that, rising and falling in great waves of emotional excitement or passion, or perhaps whirling like a great fiery maelstrom toward its center, or swirling in an outward movement away from its center. Again, it may be seen as projecting from its depths smaller bodies or centers of mental vibration, which like sparks from a furnace detach themselves from the parent flame and travel far away in other directions. These are the projected thought forms of which all occultists are fond of speaking, and which make plain many strange psychic occurrences. The three primary auric colors. Like their physical counterparts, the auric colors are derived from three primary colors from which all the various combinations and colors are formed. These three primary colors, together with white and black, give us the key to the entire auric spectrum. The three primary colors are as follows: 1, red, 2, blue, and 3, yellow. From these three primary colors, all others are formed by combinations and blendings or by the addition of black or white. Thus, the secondary colors are formed as follows: 1, green, derived from a combination of yellow and blue. 2, orange, derived from a combination of yellow and red. 3, purple, derived from a combination of red and blue. Further combinations produce other colors. For instance, green and purple form olive, orange and purple form russet, green and orange form citrine. Black is really an absence of color, while white is really a harmonious blending of all colors. The blending of the primary colors in varied proportions produces what are known as the hues of color, and adding white we obtain tints, while mixing black produces shades. Key to the auric colors. An understanding of the basic character of the three primary auric colors and of auric black and auric white gives the student the key to the whole range of auric coloring. For this purpose, the following table is presented. The red group. Red represents the physical nature, and its presence always indicates the existence and activity of that part of the nature of man. The blue group. Blue represents the religious or spiritual nature, and its presence always indicates the existence and activity of that part of the nature of man. The yellow group. Yellow represents the intellectual nature, and its presence always indicates the existence and activity of that part of the nature of man. White represents pure spirit, and its presence always indicates the presence and activity of that reality in the nature of man. Black represents the negation of pure spirit and opposes it in every way, and its presence always indicates the existence and activity of this negative principle in the nature of man. The various combinations of the three primary auric colors are formed in connection with white and black, as well as by the blending of the three themselves. These combinations, of course, result from the shades of mental and emotional activity manifested by the individual. But not only is the blending caused by the mixing of the colors themselves in connection with black and white, but in certain cases the body of one color is found to be streaked, striped, dotted, or clouded by other colors. At times there is perceived the mixture of two antagonistic color streams fighting against each other before blending. Again, we see the effect of one color neutralizing another. In some cases, great black clouds obscure the bright colors beneath, and then darken the fierce glow of color, just as is often witnessed in the case of a physical conflagration. Again, we find great flashes of bright yellow or red flaring across the field of the aura, showing agitation or the conflict of intellect and passion. It should be noted by the student in passing that the green group of auric colors seems, at first glance, to be an exception to the general rule regarding the blending of the primary auric colors, and to manifest contradictions in character. For instance, it is difficult for the average student to comprehend why a blending of the spiritual blue and the intellectual yellow should yield a green indicating deceit, etc. A subtle analysis of deceit, however, gives the secret of this combination, particularly when it is noted that in certain of the less desirable of the green combinations, there is combined a slight mixture of black and of red. It is not necessary to go into details concerning this particular point. It is enough to indicate the nature of the solution of the mystery. Again, there is a certain shade of green, that which manifests in the prevailing colors of trees, plants, etc., which when shown in the auric coloring indicates a love of nature, etc. The following words from a celebrated occultist give a valuable hint to those whose minds tend to keen analysis concerning these matters. This occultist says, "To those who are fond of analysis of this kind, I will drop the following hint which may help them in the matter, viz. The key is found in the fact that green lies in the center of the spectrum and is a balance between the two extremes, and is also influenced by these two extremes in a startling manner." Important suggestions. The Rosicrucian teachers do not content themselves with instructing their students concerning the particular colors which, when seen in the aura, indicate the presence and activity of certain mental or emotional states in the person. They also instruct the student according to the celebrated principle of action and reaction, which forms an important feature of certain branches of the Rosicrucian teachings. That is to say, they instruct the student that if he will hold in his mind the mental image of a certain color, there will result a reaction in the direction of the production in the student's mind or emotional nature of the feeling or emotion corresponding to that particular color. For instance, if the student will hold his thought and attention firmly concentrated on the red group of colors, there will be awakened in him a strong passional emotion and the manifestation of animal vitality and vigor, virility, courage, etc. Again, if he will hold in his mind in the same way the blue group of colors, he will experience an uplift of spiritual or religious emotional feelings, and his nature will be quickened along those lines. Again, if he would stimulate his intellectual faculties or reinvigorate a tired mind, he has but to concentrate on the yellow group of colors to obtain the desired result. So, it is seen, not only do mental and emotional states manifest appropriate colors, but the colors themselves tend to produce their corresponding mental and emotional states. The action of red upon the bull and other animals is explained in this way. Also, we have here a suggestion as to why a man sees red under moments of great excitement leading to physical action of punishment, etc. It is also a part of the teachings that the three primary colors have a decided therapeutic effect, and that one may apply the principle in healing work. The colors may be applied either by means of physical colors placed in the environment of the person, or else held in the mind of the mental healer giving the treatment. Here is the therapeutic scale of colors. Therapeutic scale of colors. Blues, violet, lavender, etc. have a cooling and soothing effect upon the nervous system and upon the blood and bodily organs. Grass greens have a resting and invigorating effect upon the same. Yellows and orange have an inspiring and illuminating effect upon the mental faculties. Reds have an exciting and stimulating effect upon mind and body. This is particularly true of scarlets and other bright reds. The protective aura. The Rosicrucian teachers also instruct their pupils in the matter of the creation and maintenance of the protective aura, which is a shelter of soul, mind and body against evil influences directed against them consciously or unconsciously. This protective aura is an effective armor against all forms of psychic attack and invasion, no matter from whom they emanate. It affords a simple but very powerful and efficient means of protection against adverse psychic influences, malicious mental magnetism, black magic, etc., and is also a protection against psychic vampirism or the draining of magnetic strength. The method of forming the protective aura is very simple. It consists merely of the formation of a mental image, accompanied by a demand of the will, of yourself as being surrounded by an aura of pure, clear white light, the symbol and indication of spirit. A little practice will enable you to actually feel the presence and power of this protective aura. The white light is the radiation of spirit, and spirit is master of all things. As a teacher has said, the highest and deepest occult teaching is that the white light must never be used for purpose of attack or personal gain, but that it may properly be employed by anyone at any time to protect himself or herself against adverse outside psychic influences, no matter by whom exerted. It is the armor of the soul, and may well be employed in such way whenever or wherever the need arises. In the explanation given here concerning the aura will be found a key to very interesting phenomena along the lines of personal magnetism, magnetic influence, personal atmosphere, etc. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.